Hello, welcome to another reading. So today's topic is maybe a little less quote unquote nice because today your nemesis is my nemesis and I'm not above talking some crap on your behalf. Although I am filming this intro after I filmed the groups and I actually expected it to be slightly more mean, but you know, that's not how the cards always work. So basically, we're doing a reading on a person that you kind of can't stand in some way. So this could be a toxic ex. This could be a former mean friend. This could be someone who betrayed you, a coworker who makes your day difficult, an obnoxious neighbor. And we're going to look at what's not going well for them. And this reading really isn't for the sake of being mean for no reason. I am a proponent of finding empathy for other people, but today is more about feeding that secret satisfaction that someone terrible didn't get to just ride off into the sunset after hurting you, or someone who makes your life harder doesn't get to just be happy. So you can still be a nice person and not enjoy everyone you encounter. We all have, in our own way, our nemesis. So let's get into your group selection. We have 4 groups today. I pulled the devil card from each deck to help you make your choice. I'm actually pretty fond of the devil card as a Capricorn, but I thought this would be fitting for what we're looking at today. So take a moment to bring your nemesis to mind, and I will show you each of these cards up close now. For group 1, we have the Trickster, which is the devil card from the Magical Dogs Tarot. For group 2, we have the devil card from the Modern Witch Tarot. For group 3, we have the devil card from the Kawaii Tarot. For group 4, we have the devil card from the Golden Thread Tarot. Okay, feel free to choose one or more groups if you have multiple people in mind, and I will meet you in your reading. Hi, group 1. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Trickster card from the Magical Dogs Tarot. As a quick reminder, we're doing a reading about someone you kind of can't stand or someone that hurt you. Basically, we're being dramatic today and calling them your nemesis. So I'm going to put this card back in the deck. But we're going to look at why we hate them. What did they do, or what are they doing? What do other people think of them? And specifically, what do other people who also are bothered by them think about them? We're going to look at how they currently feel about you, what's not going well or what's going wrong for them right now in life. We will look at, will they learn from how they affected you? Are they sorry? And what's going to happen between you two moving forward? And will they get their due? Will there be justice? And if something else comes to mind instead or in addition to these questions, we'll go ahead and ask that. Okay, so for group 1, why don't we like this person? What did they do or are doing to group number 1? We've got the Sky Puppy, which is the Page of Swords. The Nine of Sky. I think we're going to get one more. That's the Nine of Swords. And the 8 of C, the 8 of Cups. Okay, so what it looks like is the way this person came into your life at first seemed like a good thing. So this person hasn't always necessarily been a nemesis. Basically, it feels like they just like bounded excitedly in. They had this sort of like innocent, like fun aspect to them. This puppy also seems like larger than it should be in this photo. So I feel like this person was like larger than life in some way, or you felt really excited at first. Like this was either like a new friend or maybe someone you dated. It could be actually in any aspect of your life. At first, this person was really like excited to meet you, or you felt excited to meet them. Like it seemed like a good thing at first. And that's why it's so annoying now that you don't feel good towards this person, because it was supposed to be good. Like there was so much optimism and hope at first, and like joy and excitement and energy. But it could be, for some people, this also could have been that this person really felt annoying at first in this way that was like overly energetic or overly excited, or like was trying to be your friend, and you were like, okay, like calm it down a little bit. So it could be either like it was exciting at first for both of you, or this person came in like way too hot, way too fast. But this person definitely made an entrance. Like even if they were kind of around before you knew each other, it's like once your paths crossed, it was kind of intense right away, or they were very intense. And then I don't know if it very quickly went this way, but I think it was very quick. So with the 9 of Sky here, a lot of times with this card, it's a lot of mental anguish and anxiety. And this one in particular has like definitely some fear and anxiety of like what's going to happen. So it seemed like it switched. This person switched from being positive to having a very negative influence in your life very quickly, and created a certain sense of darkness for you. So I do think for most people here, you actually did get quite close to this individual, and it just because I don't think you would be so affected by them in this way if you hadn't gotten close to them or started to trust them. So I think that they seemed trustworthy at first, and then it became this. And, you know, in these cards, you're not together, you're separate. So it seems like even if you were close to this person in whatever way that would look like, there's a sense of isolation here. So I'm starting to wonder if this is someone you dated or you became very close friends with, because they came in. This isn't someone you knew forever, or you may have known them since you were a kid, but something changed. But it does feel like they came in really quick. Things seemed good at first, and then a sense of isolation came in. So it's making me think of a situation where someone has sort of abusive tendencies, and they are isolating you from your friends and family or from your world in some way, or just somehow because of this relationship, you've started to feel isolated. You may have felt isolated within this relationship to this person. And in addition to that, there is a sense of fear and anxiety and like walking on eggshells here. So I am getting the sense from this storm and you hiding from this storm that this person was stormy in some way. So either their moods would like flip on a switch, or they could be very aggressive sometimes, or you got to a point where you didn't know what you were going to get from them. And it feels like it could be manipulative. It definitely feels like you're walking on eggshells, which is never really a good thing in a relationship, especially if it's happening consistently. And because this is showing up so strongly, it feels like, and as like the core of these 3 cards, it feels like this is the core of your experience with this person, is kind of a stormy emotional weather, or maybe they were physically stormy. I don't know, but you feel like you're sort of like a shell of yourself a little bit, and you're present with it, but you're sort of trying to hide from it. And so it feels like in some way, not only were you trying to hide from the problems that this person was causing, but you're not able to fully be your brightest, best self anymore. yeah, it feels like you don't know what's going to happen. Like at any moment, one of these is going to fall and hurt you, or lightning is going to strike. Like you're not safe. It's like you can't go this way, you can't go that way. So you're kind of stuck right here. And there's a stuckness and feeling sort of trapped where you're unable to find any peace. So I'm not surprised that you are not happy with this person at this point, because it seems like they caused you a great deal of distress and pain, mental anguish, anxiety, emotional distress. Yeah, you don't feel safe. And so it's a really uncomfortable place to be. And it does make me think that this person was either cruel or whatever is wrong with them. It came out at you in ways that were unfair. And this Eight of Cups a lot of times is, walking away. So this is showing, because, this person at this point is a nemesis. It's not someone that I think is currently in your life. Or if they are, they do not have as big of a place in your life as they once did, because you had to make this choice to get up and walk away. So yeah, and I think there's still some uncertainty with this choice. So sometimes you're still wondering if you made the right decision, if you overreacted, I think you wonder sometimes if things weren't as bad as you thought they were. And so it kind of feels like, because I feel like you're walking away from something this way and you're actually going this way, but you're turned around. And so it feels to me like you're just like, I don't know. Did I do the right thing? Was this person as bad as I thought they were? And it feels like you're sort of like bedraggled a little bit. Like you've been kind of like whipped around by whatever this was, and it's messed with you, and you're still not fully at that point where you feel like wholly yourself and healed from whatever this is. So I think there's some doubt here. You're doubting if you did the right thing, if you are doing the right thing. But I want to tell you that while this is very dramatic, you're not making it up, okay? Like if you're saying all these things, like this person did this and they did this and they did this and like all this stuff, and you're doubting, you're like, well, maybe that's not really what happened. It doesn't actually matter if all of those memories you have are 100% true, or, you think you played a role. You probably did play a role if you were close to somebody in some way. But what you need to remember is that you felt the way that you did, okay? And it wasn't good. And there's a reason for that. And you don't necessarily need to know the details of that reason. Like you don't necessarily need to put a label on everything that happened. All you have to do is remember how you felt. And you did not feel good, okay? You felt really bad. You felt really awful. And somehow this situation was harming and hurting you. I can see it. So you have to remember that in order to help yourself and get to a place of peace and emotional calm, you had to walk away from this because it was harming you in some way. And I think in the beginning, you thought it was going to be something else. And so there's a part of you that keeps returning to the beginning, to maybe good memories or the innocence of it. And it's kind of hard. It's like, they call it like cognitive dissonance sometimes in these situations where there's the good and the bad, and it's so hard to keep them both in mind at the same time. Or it's like you start to think, well, it was good and I overreacted, or it was bad. It's like, I'm probably not explaining this very well, but like, it's really hard for your brain to put it all together and for it to make sense, because it kind of doesn't make sense. And so I think you're kind of stuck in that place a little bit, and you're tending to your emotional wounds. And it's also, I think you're somewhat frustrated because it's so unfair, whatever this is that happened. It's caused emotional wounding in you that you're having to tend to these wounds essentially on your own. And you may have help, but it sucks because this person isn't going to be able to help you get better. Okay. Because if they could cause this, they cannot also cause your healing, especially if they have not changed. Yeah, I mean, I could go further into this, but we have other questions we want to ask. So I'm going to move on to what other people think about them, and not people who think highly of them. We're specifically looking at other people that this person has harmed, because it seems like they have a harmful streak. So what do some other people they've harmed think about them? The Emperor. Ten of Earth. And the Four of Sea. So the ten of Earth is 10 of Pentacles, and the Four of Sea is the Four of Cups. So on the surface, these are really positive cards, but we're not looking at what positive things are being thought about them. I think, okay, so this is bringing up some past people that were also close to them in some way. And I think that there is a little bit of nostalgia and rumination happening. So even if they hurt someone else, so if we're just going to say this is one person, this other past person, this person gets a little bit lost in the nostalgia a little bit, because I think that they're going through something similar as you, because especially as time passes, sometimes your brain remembers the good things, right? Especially if it's like a breakup or something, because you might not talk to that person again, or if you do see them, the energy is different. So this person's a little bit nostalgic. They're remembering times that they thought were good. But also with the Emperor here, I'm sensing extremely strong boundaries. So even when their brain goes into nostalgia a little bit, they are reminding themselves of what happened. They're reminding themselves of their own strength, and they're grounding themselves in reality in a much stronger way, and they are protecting themselves in some way. So even if they are in communication with this person, I think it is quite limited. So I am getting ex vibes. So this could be an ex, but it could also have been like a former close friend or something like that. And I think they're also focusing on their own life to a certain degree. But when they think about this person, I think that they think, so this past person, I think, feels a lot wiser now. And when they think about your nemesis, they think of this nemesis as sort of a child. So they see the emotional immaturity. They see how this person still hasn't grown up after however long it's been that they knew each other. They still dwell on some of the things that went wrong. And, it's like they still think about this a little bit, and it's not super positive. Like, it's kind of this, it's not a super strong like hatred or anger either. It's just like a kind of like a weariness. I'm hearing like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So this person may have had like a toxic parent or something too. If for some reason your nemesis is the person that we're talking about that knew your nemesis, it's possible they have kids together, and that's kind of a frustration. If that's not the case, and if that is the case, actually, if they do have kids together, they're a little bit worried about their kids turning out like this person. But that is not for everybody. Yeah, there's a sense of them not wanting your nemesis to get too close again. They have a distance. So I do think some of these people are still in slight communication with this person, but there's a distance that was not there when they knew one another. And I think that they definitely experienced some of what you experienced, but I almost wonder if you had it worse or you were more affected for whatever reason that would be, or because you're closer to it than this person, you're still more affected by it. Like this person has had possibly time and space to let some of the feelings dissolve, but they're still there. This person definitely was affected, and they've had to come back to themselves and like they may have also become a shell in some way, but they've found themselves again, and there's a strength within them, but that's because they were hurt by this person. Yeah, and it's like, it's not really a wistfulness of what used to be. This other person is starting to redirect their focus and attention because they don't want to spend time thinking about this person, your nemesis person, because your nemesis is still like living in their brain a little bit and in their feelings a little bit, but they're actively trying not to pay attention to it. So while you might want to hear that they really don't like your nemesis and they don't have positive feelings toward your nemesis, it's more like some of that still affects them, but they are actively trying not to think about it and worry about it a lot. What does your nemesis currently feel about you? What do they feel and think about you? We have the 10 of Sky, 10 of Swords. We have the Mage, which would be the Magician. We have the Ace of Earth, which is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, on the one hand, with the 10 of Sky here, this person also feels sort of wounded in some way. I don't know if it's because you walked away or because they feel that you did something that harmed them, or in general, they're harmed by life. So it's like they're in a state of constant wounding. And this also makes me think that you are definitely not the only one that has been upset by what they've done. It feels like what these arrows feel like to me is like they have all these past people that they've hurt in a similar way. And they've also hurt these people because they are a hurt individual. And it's like this cycle just keeps repeating. It's like they're never getting any better. But it's like this person is not strong and healthy. They may pretend they are, they may act like they are, but they are not doing particularly well. And their life feels quite stormy. And we are going to get into that more, but what we're looking at is how they currently feel about you. And so this, in relation to you specifically, is they may feel like they've made progress in other areas of their life, but they're still wounded somehow by what happened with you. And so they're thinking about you. I don't know if you're in contact with this person or not. I don't think that you are, or it's quite limited. And they definitely are still thinking about you. They think you are doing a lot better than they are, which could be true. I don't know. But they think that you're making progress, that you're independent, that they may think that you're making progress in your career or in your finances or in your security. Maybe they think that if you lived with this person, they think you're definitely happier in a different home. I think that they see you as being really wise, capable, smart, intelligent. They see you as being very spiritually connected, very intuitive, very grounded, very healthy. They see you as like kind of having it all in some way, or being capable of anything. They see you as having lots of tools and knowledge and abilities and skills. They think that you are definitely accomplishing things or starting to accomplish things, or you're capable of accomplishing a lot. You look really healthy in their mind. So they see you as like really attractive or very radiant, or they feel like you're emotionally very healthy. There's a brilliance and brightness to the way that they are perceiving you, and they feel like the wounded one. So on the one hand, I think that they might think they're the only one that's hurt by this and you're fine and you've moved on and you're doing better. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but they see it that way. So if you're not talking to them and they were to see you in public, they're like, wow, like group one is doing great and I am suffering and they're like a perpetual victim, basically is what it's feeling like to me. And they see you as having everything in some way, or you have the potential to have everything. I don't think that they think you have everything, but you're well on your way to having everything. And it kind of annoys me that they feel like such a victim. And I think that in some way they are trying to heal, but they don't think that they can, or they're not incapable of it. They're just, because they're in some kind of like perpetual pain that has always been there, I think. And so I don't know if there is jealousy per se because of how they're perceiving you. I think that they think you are a lot wiser than them, that you know a lot more than them. They may even think that you are kind of a know-it-all, and that sort of annoys them too. But there's definitely this like feeling of like they're suffering and you're not, but they don't want you to know they're suffering. And they don't want you to know what they think about you. Okay, so let's get to the big question. What's not going well for them, or what's going wrong for your nemesis right now? For this person, what is not going well? We have the shaman, which is the Hierophant. We have the fire alpha male, the King of Wands. And we have the trickster, which is the devil. Okay, the first thing I want to say, as far as what's not going well for them right now, well, there's a few things. So where do I want to start? I think what has worked for them in the past to help them feel better is not working anymore. So so if they've gone a traditional route of finding emotional healing or something, I do think that you're in separation with this person. Like, you're either not together anymore, you're not friends with them anymore, you don't talk to them anymore, they're not in your day-to-day life, you don't see them. I think that's probably the case. And they may have leaned on support systems or ways of healing or like a therapist, things like this in the past when dealing with heartbreak, someone leaving them, or this kind of thing. And what's happening here is that it's not working. It's not working the way it used to. It's not working the way they're expecting it to or wanting it to. And it's frustrating. And they may have also turned toward unconventional ways of healing or dealing with this. And nothing's working, basically. Nothing's working. And it's frustrating because it's like, well, this has worked for so many other people. Why am I still feeling this way? And basically what I'm hearing is like something needs to change. I think what is happening here is that they were able to blame other people in the past. Okay. And now they're trying to blame you, but it's not working because they're finally being faced with the fact that they are doing things wrong, because this strikes me as somebody who does not take full accountability for what they do. And yeah, it's like they're pretending to take accountability. They're pretending to. I don't know who they're pretending with. They're either pretending with themselves, with their friends and family, or a group that they are part of. Their accountability is pretend. And so what's going wrong or not well is because they're pretending, they can't actually heal from anything. And I think that something is happening in their life now that is essentially a transformation. a chance at transformation. And they basically can take this opportunity or not. And they're being given like a huge opportunity to change. And they're not currently taking it, is what I want to tell you. Because with the trickster here, they're still showing up as manipulative, being dishonest with themselves and others. They are pretending to be someone that they're not. They are, so basically they have a chance to basically do shadow work. And they're not doing it because otherwise this wouldn't show up in what's going wrong for them. And if they choose to do it, it's going to be incredibly difficult. It's not going to be fun. It's going to make them see things about themselves that they really dislike. And I think that they want to continue to live the way that they have. They don't want to live differently because it's going to be so hard to do that. And they would have to, of course, face the things that they've done. I don't know that this person, some of what they've done feels intentional and some does not. You might know more about that than I do. So it feels like it goes really far back. And I also want to say that it's very possible that substances are involved here, and not just substances, but abuse of them. So this person, because that does come out with the devil, and because of who this person is, and just some of the aspects of this card too are making me think that this person is trying to find answers in substances, or as they are called to transform and it feels scary or hard or they don't want to, they turn to substances to distract themselves. So there's a few things with the King of Wands here. So I'm kind of feeling like this dog here is disappointed in them. So either they have someone in their life, especially like a mentor or someone older or wiser than them, that they feel admiration for in some way, is like disappointed with them. They expected more out of them, or this person feels like someone is disappointed with them. But I also feel like this could be you. And in that case, not only are you moving forward and you're finding yourself again and you're healing, and they can sense that, but also I think that your disappointment in them is something that weighs on them. And they definitely feel like somebody or multiple people are disappointed with them and it's weighing on them. And so they're also trying to escape that feeling by going further into their distractions. And again, I want to say substances. And also, I think that they're moving toward people who are not healthy for them, and spending time in some space that is allowing them to continue to be the person that they have been. A victim, a manipulator, someone confusing. Yeah, this person really wants approval. I don't know if they want this approval from a specific group. It kind of feels like a community or a group. Because I get the sense that they're like talking to a group of people and they want approval from this group. And maybe they have always had approval from this group, but that's either starting to fade, or because they're having to face their shadows, they're starting to feel sort of paranoid about what this group or these people or someone thinks about them. So they're feeling judged. They're feeling like they're being seen in a light that is not very positive, but they keep trying to show that positive light. Like, it really feels like they were able to seem a certain way for a long time. Like, they got away with like presenting a certain persona or a certain level of healing or something like that. And people believed it and praised them for it. And that's not happening anymore, or they're afraid it's not going to happen. They're afraid someone is seeing through them. I think people might be seeing through them, or they're just afraid of that. And something is messing with them. So they are either losing a group or a community, or they're very afraid that that's going to happen. And somehow I think that this is linked to whatever happened with you, because I think you saw through them you had to have seen through them in some way. And whether they do have good qualities and bad, everybody does, but clearly their bad ones caused you a lot of harm. But yeah, it feels like they're not able to hide so much anymore, and the curtain is being lifted. And people are starting to see the falseness of their persona. Yeah, they're starting to get more and more anxious about this, I think, because it's starting to become clearer, because the veil is not staying over people's eyes the way it used to. Their tactics that they used to be able to use are not working the same way anymore. I don't know why that is. I don't know why people are becoming more aware, or because this person is afraid of that. But something feels very false about the way that they are presenting themselves, and people are starting to see that falseness. And in particular, they are scared that people are seeing the falseness, and they're trying to keep up the mask, but it's falling. They can't keep it up anymore. It's starting to look crazier and crazier in some way. Like maybe they look in the mirror and they're like, what am I thinking? Like people are going to see. People are going to see. I don't know if that's making total sense. But I think that they go into substances and distractions because it helps them maintain this level of confidence in themselves, or this level of feeling like everything's actually okay. I think that, I don't know if they had an issue with substances when you knew them or not, or if you suspected that they did, but it almost feels like it's getting a little bit worse. They seem to be sort of faded in some way. They're kind of fading out by using these things because it helps them feel more in control of what's happening. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. So basically what's not going well for them is their mask is slipping. They're afraid their mask is slipping. People are starting to see through them. They may be losing communities or groups. They're going down the wrong road with substances or distractions. They feel your disappointment and other people's disappointment. This isn't someone who is doing mentally well right now. Will they learn from how they affected you? And are they sorry? Let's see. Okay, so something weird just happened with the cards where I feel like they do have moments where they can see what they did, but just as quickly they, I don't know if this is a defense mechanism. I don't think it's super conscious, but they flip it back around. I think that they probably twisted things that happened between you and were constantly flipping the narrative. And it feels like they're still doing that in their head because they are not able to face the fact that they did something wrong. I think that's because it would send them into a spiral. We have the seer, which would be the hanged man. Too many. And we have the hermit. Okay. So will they learn how they affected you? I actually want to say yes. This person probably will at some point. I don't know if this is going to be soon or far in the future. I don't know how much they will learn. I don't know if you will reconnect or not. But this indicates to me that they are going to learn from how they affected you because their perspective is flipping. And a lot of times this card can be about an awakening, an understanding of what happened. And I'm definitely feeling that with this card. I think that, but okay, the thing is with the hanged man, a lot of times there are delays and there is a waiting process and it takes a long time. So I'm thinking that too, as I look at this. I think this person is definitely going to have an awakening of some kind where they understand how they affected you and others. And I think that this is going to happen sort of against their will in some way. Like, I think that in some way they're not going to have a choice. Basically, this is going to happen to them. They're going to understand. I don't know if this is because something similar will happen to them and it'll finally wake them up. If they're able to, if they're using substances, if they're able to stop and their mind clears, or if they're willing to finally look themselves in the mirror, or, you know, turn around and face themselves, and somehow this opens things up for them. But the thing is, this probably is not going to happen right now or as soon as you may hope for. I mean, I don't know if you even hope that they learn from this at this point, but I think that they will. And I think it's going to happen over time. It may be even a slow awakening, a slow process of them understanding how they harmed you, how they harmed other people. And, yeah, I mean, there's not much else that I'm seeing here. So let's look at the Hermit for if they are sorry. Actually, I want to get one more card. Okay, we have the Nine of Fire, which is the Nine of Wands. I don't think they're sorry right now. I think that they will be sorry when and if they reach this point, which I think that they are going to. And once they actually spend some time going internally and going within and facing themselves, facing their shadows, facing the things that they've done, when they're able to be more truthful and spend some time internally, then I think that the sorrow will be there. I think that they might be more sorry for themselves than anyone else. And they don't like how they've been affected by this. I think they're very defensive, and they're telling stories in their head that are not exactly what happened. So this person is still kind of like delusional about this a little bit. And not to say that like anyone, you know, I think maybe everyone can be a little bit delusional to a degree because memory can be faulty. You know, our emotions play a role, our perspective and the way that we grew up, all of that plays a role. Okay. But I think that this person in particular is kind of delusional and likes to think that they are right because of whatever reason that thinking they're right helps them feel better. I mean, we probably all feel better when we think we're right. But yeah, I think that I also get the sense that they're talking to people and telling them a different version of the truth, a different version of the story that is not the truth fully. And I think that they're actually even aware that they're doing this, but it's like this is their defense mechanism. Instead of facing the truth, they will create stories and tell people the stories in order to like make it be the truth. I don't like that. It's really annoying me because I don't want them telling lies about you. No wonder they're a nemesis. I don't know for sure that's what's happening, but it's certainly what feels like is happening. And it feels like they're even going to tell like a mentor or someone in their life that they really respect or is like they see as like emotionally healthy or like wise or something. They're telling that person a mistruth about this story. So they're making you look bad or someone else look bad instead of telling the truth about what they did in order to get like approval and to make themselves believe that everything's fine. And it's making them actually believe everything's that they did is fine, which I don't like. It's like, you know, those people that rewrite history. They're rewriting history. And they're going to have to face the truth. And I think when they actually do face the truth, there's a sorry, but I don't think they're sorry right now. What's going to happen between you moving forward? The Eight of Earth, Eight of Pentacles. The Six of Sky, Six of Swords. the Four of Fire, Four of Wands. Hold on, let me drink some water. Okay, so there's a couple things that could happen. So for some people, if they are able to truly face themselves and do the work and leave behind the way that they have lived in the past, there may be a reunion or a reconciliation and they will no longer be a nemesis, okay? There is the chance that that's going to happen. For some of you, you're moving away from this situation into a happier place with other people. So if we're looking at a reconciliation between you, this person would have to put in the work. And that's not just them admitting what they did and now they're going to go see a therapist or something. And they go for like a couple months and then they're like, I've changed. No, this is a lot of work that this person needs to put in. So this might be years of work. I mean, you would have to tell completely that there is a difference in this person. It's like they look different. It's almost like they sound different. Their energy is different. And it is obvious that they have put in the work and that they've changed. And it would be very clear that they've left something behind, some part of themselves, some way that they've lived life. Maybe they've left certain people behind, certain groups or certain ways of doing things. It would be a very clear and very obvious change. I think they'd even dress differently or something. Like they physically will look different in some way. I don't know if they just seem healthier. Something physically, I believe, will have changed. There will be a difference and you'll be able to tell. So if they've actually put in the work and they come back in because they've left behind that way of life, you will feel a different energy between you and you will get a true sorry. It will not feel anything like it once did. And you will be able to be in some way close again. I don't think that is what is likely to happen to most people here, but you might have a sense for whether or not that's possible with this person. For everyone else, I would proceed with caution when it comes to that person. And you are actually meant to do the work, a different kind of work. This would be following your passions and your hobbies and the things that you love and feel good about. You're putting work into yourself. You're putting work into your projects and career and the things that make you happy. Maybe you're surrounding yourself with beautiful things. Maybe you are cooking more and like making healthier food for yourself, or you're just like enjoying the art of cooking. It doesn't necessarily need to be healthy. You're basically, if this is your path, you're meant to just keep putting your focus on the things that are important for you and that make you physically feel well. So, I'm getting food a lot for some reason, but like feeding yourself and nurturing yourself and having like warm baths and maybe going on road trips and taking walks and exercising and like doing your hobbies and making things, you know what I mean? So this is about taking care of yourself and doing your work. Also, addressing any way that if you do feel like you did anything in this relationship that wasn't healthy or wasn't you, or you don't feel good about, this is about you doing the work to change those things and to take accountability in the ways that you can. You don't necessarily need to say sorry to this person. You need to take care of yourself and leave this person behind, okay? Because likely they are not going to change anytime soon or fast enough to be present in your life. This is someone who is still quite wounded, and that sucks. Like, this reading isn't necessarily for like finding more empathy for this person, because I feel like you've probably had enough. And so like, it's sad that this person goes through life like this, but that's not what this is about. Okay. This is about your health, keeping your energy with you instead of giving it to wounded people that will continue to take it because they don't yet know how to tend to their own wounds. And so you're meant to move away from the situation that is just going to harm you. And I do think you've already moved away or started to. And this is just an indication that you will continue to move away from this. And I think that your energies are going to be separate. And then if you do what you need to do and you stay away from this person if they are unhealthy, you're going to end up in a situation with someone else that is much better. So this is either a new romantic relationship that feels like an equal, healthy partnership, or this is a friend that also feels equal and healthy and that you trust, or this is even a community of some kind that you feel really good in. So the energy is going to be really positive. And I think for most of you, it's because you did make the choice to leave this behind and you chose yourself. Okay, will this person get their due? Will there be justice? I guess we kind of already looked at that, but let's just ask maybe one card. We'll see. Will there be justice? The Lovers. I'm going to get another card. Five of Sky, Five of Swords. Yep, there's going to be justice. So on the one hand, I'm again seeing you in a happier situation with somebody else, okay? And a long-term happiness. So whether this is romantic, platonic, whatever you had with this person, you're going to have it much better with someone else who you can trust for the long term, okay? Also, with the Five of Swords here, it feels like, okay, on the one hand, sorry, I feel like I keep saying that, but I think that you are choosing yourself to such a degree that you are moving away from anyone and anything toxic or that holds you down or that hurts you. And you are perfectly fine walking away, choosing yourself, and you don't feel guilty about it. And that's amazing. But also, I think that this person is going to experience people walking away from them. Not just you, not just people from the past. There are people in their present life that are walking away from them or choosing to walk away from them in the future. Okay. So in a sense, like, it's not that I hope for that for them, but there's a justice in knowing that it wasn't just you who experienced pain with them and that other people are taking it seriously enough to walk away. And in that way, there is justice because you are getting what's right for you. And, other people are making that same decision with them. I don't know if you're going to see it or not. I think that when this happens, if you do see it or if you hear about it, you're not going to really care anymore. And I think that luck is really on your side. I see protection here for you and blessings. And so in that way, I think justice will be served. Okay, well, group one, I think that's all I have for you. I hope it was helpful today. If you did like this video, this reading, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye. Hi, group two. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Devil card from the Modern Witch Tarot. As a quick reminder, we are doing a reading today on your nemesis, okay? Someone you kind of can't stand, someone that hurt you. I don't know who it is, but we're going to put this card back in the deck. We are going to start with, why do we hate them? What did they do or are doing? What do other people think about them? And specifically, we're going to try to get what someone or multiple people who also are annoyed with them think about them. We're going to see how they currently feel about you. Man, these cards are hard to shuffle. They're so thick. We're going to look at what's not going well or going wrong for them right now. Will they learn from how they affected you? Are they sorry? And what's going to happen between you two moving forward? And finally, will they get their due? Will justice be served in some way? So I'm just going to do another shuffle or two on these. Please bear with me. Okay. So group 2, why do we hate your nemesis? What did they do or what are they doing? Got the King of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Ten of Cups. Okay, for this group, I'm getting coworker and neighbor vibes. Of course, this could be someone else. This could be a friend or someone, could be someone that you're traveling with that is really irritating. But I am getting boss vibes, possibly coworker or someone that you work with, or boss or someone who's like maybe a teacher, someone who's kind of like in a position of authority. And with the Ten of Cups, I feel like it could also be a neighbor or someone. This also could be someone in your family or it feels like either extended family or it feels like a member of your spouse's family. So an in-law of some kind. So if you're relating to one of those, this may be your reading. Let's see what they are doing to piss you off. Okay. What did they do or what are they doing? Yeah, for some reason I'm getting 3 distinct energies, but we'll see if that changes as we do the reading. So there's definitely, for those who relate to someone in a position of authority, or they might not be in a position of authority, they might just, someone is like really bossy, or like they think they know what's best for you and for other people, or like they're so focused on getting their way, and it's so irritating. So I don't know. And this person, like, they're so like stubborn and very focused on what they want, and they don't care what anybody else wants. And with the King of Swords here, it kind of feels like micromanaging energy. Someone that is not letting you just do what you need to do. They feel like they're the boss of, okay, so I'm sorry, there's so many different energies happening, but this definitely feels like more than likely someone here is kind of bossy in a really annoying way, or they're very controlling in some way. And this could be someone, again, in family or at work. Those are the 2 places I'm feeling the strongest, but it could be anywhere. And they're not listening enough to what other people need or want, their way or the highway. This is someone who is, I just keep hearing bossy. They're bossy in a way that I don't think that is warranted. I mean, I don't think it's ever really warranted for someone to be bossy. I mean, personally, I don't really like bossy energy, but and it's almost like they like prepare themselves in the morning, almost like they put on their defenses because they're like, I'm getting my way, and like nobody else is getting their way. It's this really irritating energy, and they don't care who they trample in the process. Like, they don't care what you think. They don't care how you're affected by this. This is someone who just does not care about other people's needs and wants. Only theirs. Only what they want. Only what they think is right. They don't care what anybody else wants or needs. Again, it's their way or the highway. Yeah, they think they're in charge of everybody and everything. And I do get the sense that this is someone close to your age or older, but it is possible that they could be younger than you. And that's also the annoying part, because why are they bossing me around? You know, I'm not getting much more than that. So let's see what other people think about them. Do other people find them annoying? The Fool, the Ten of Wands, and the Hierophant. geez, let's just do this. Okay. Yeah, other people are annoyed by them. So with the Fool, of course, I'm hearing that other people think they are a fool. So I wonder if this person is like younger and just like acts like they're in charge and like they're the only opinion that matters or something like that. Or yeah, I'm getting this with the Hierophant too. Like they just think that they're in charge. So like everybody should listen to me. This could also be somebody if you are in a religious place or a community of some kind that has like traditions and rules and things like that, they think they're in charge. They like to tell everybody else what to do. They're so like oblivious to what other people want and need. And it's like, yeah, it's like other people are like, okay, like I'm actually doing way too much. I'm doing more than my share. My responsibility is too big. And they're like, I don't care. I have other things to do. And that's bossing people around. It's that kind of energy of like, they don't actually do as much as other people, but they certainly want the credit for it. Yeah. And I get the sense that like, there are quite a few people who find this person just as irritating as you do. And I really think that you know this person in a group setting, whether that is at work, an in-law or family situation, or an organization you're a part of, a club. I really think that you know this person as part of a group. I do not think that you are close to this person. I don't think that you respect or like them very much. And I don't think a lot of other people do either, even though people might pretend to, because I get the sense that people either think that they have to listen to this person or they just do it to kind of get along. But I think that this person kind of lives in their own little world. And for some reason, people are allowing them to get away with this because maybe there's like people pleaser energy or like, people are trying to say something, but they're going unheard. For some reason, this person has like way more power than they should. And they've gotten away with it for a long time. And so it's the way that they operate and other people let them get away with it. But other people do not like them. Some people might. I think that the majority of people in this group are not a fan and would avoid them if they could. But I think that they feel like they have to listen to them. I don't know if they're in a position of authority. Like I said, it does feel like they are for some reason. And so other people sort of feel like they have to fall in line. But, yeah, this 10 of Wands is also making me think that people are like beyond annoyed with this person at this point. Like they're so irritated that they either don't want to be part of whatever this is anymore. It feels like too much work. It's too much stress. Or whenever they're around this person, their irritation is just like so intense. Like they almost have to like do certain things in order to hide it because other people seem to like this person. For some reason, I feel like people are really quiet about their dislike of this individual. And so they keep just getting to like walk around acting this way because other people are not saying anything or like their voices aren't very loud. Because I don't know if it's because of fear or something else. Yeah, they have like vampire energy. So this is someone who I think like, even if they're not bossing you around, if they sit down next to you and like want to start up a conversation or they come up to you, it's like, oh God, like I feel like your eyes are rolling because you're going to feel drained and tired by the end of it. You might be bossed around. Like they've got a know-it-all energy. You're going to end up, everyone just feels super irritable around them and doesn't want to like connect with them. And they seem totally oblivious to this for some reason. Yeah, I just like, and I think that they just think they're all that. Like they do something like kind of odd and they're like, I'm so weird, you know? Like it's just that they're just irritating. I don't know what else to say about them. Yeah, and it does seem like they have maybe they do have like an unusual style or an unusual hobby or something like that, but like it's their entire personality. It's that kind of thing where like whatever it is about them that draws attention, they make it everything about them. How do they currently feel about you? Death. Four of Swords. Okay. I'm hearing you're the bane of their existence. I don't think they're very fond of you either, to be honest. You probably already know this. I think they're so immature. Something about them is like super immature, but it's like an obvious immaturity, I think they also are like, they're annoyed because I don't know if you speak up and you're like, because other people might stay quiet, but you say stuff and they're like, ugh, here we go with group 2 again. Can't just let me live. It's like, they just, yeah, they're like tired because they want you to just let them live how they live and you're not. And so like in some very dramatic way, they don't like actually wish for your death, but I think that they wish you would go away because you're in their way. I think that they blame you in some way for whatever they don't like about the situation. They're like, ugh, here we go. Group 2 is always ruining it. But even if you weren't around, this person is not going to just have all the approval they want in the world because they're kind of an irritating person. Like, that's what I'm getting is like, overall, it's not just you who can't stand whatever they're doing. Okay. But they, for some reason, want to blame you for the fact that like, it's not always working. Yeah, they're very dramatic about it. And honestly, I don't think that this person is dangerous, but I would be sort of cautious if you suspect that they are in any way. I just want to say that. But yeah, it's like, yeah, you're the bane of their existence is what they think. They're being super dramatic about it for some reason, because I think that in some way you've tried to put a stop to their behavior or you don't put up with it totally, or they can tell, even if you don't say anything, they can tell you're not putting up with it because like your face says everything. Yeah, they're not very fond of you. And I think they even think about you sometimes as they're like trying to fall asleep, because they can tell they can't control you in the way that they have been able to control others, because I think that the people they have been able to control also don't want to be controlled by them, but are maybe more people pleasy, or they put up with it either because they've put up with it for a really long time. Like if this is an in-law and it's like, I don't know, your mother-in-law and some of her kids put up with it, it's because they grew up with it. It's a different thing than like coming into a family and immediately seeing everything that's happening. Or if it's at a workplace and, they've worked with people for years who have just like put up with them because they don't have the energy to say anything, but you just started there 6 months ago and you're like, what's up with this person? So they're like, ugh, you're getting in my way. It's this very, yeah, like I said, dramatic. They're being super dramatic about it. And your energies are very not aligned with one another. And I'm not surprised because I don't think their energy is aligned with a lot of people. Yeah, I don't think you put up with their shit in the same way other people do. And because of this, they are annoyed by you. And I think that they might even play the victim sometimes if you don't put up with something. And then they're like, oh, they go run to like someone else and they're like, group 2 was mean to me. It's that kind of like, that kind of thing. And you're not allowing them to live in the reality that they have tried to create around themselves. And so they find you to be irritating because they blame you for that. Because if only you would just go along with it, they'd be able to live in their happy little fantasy land. Yeah, it feels like they kind of want you out of their way. They don't like that you're involved somehow in this community or this situation. What's not going well for them? What's going wrong for them right now, other than this? other than you being the bane of their existence. What's not going well? What's going wrong for them right now? The Hermit. One card, please. Strength. I think I want to do a third. Okay, the Four of Cups. You know, I do think for some of you, this person is not socially very good. And so I think that there is some sadness with that a little bit. Like, I feel like they feel kind of isolated in some way. Some of these people do. And I think in their head, they've been doing everything they can. And they're like, I've been trying and nobody likes me. But they're not facing the fact that they're doing really frustrating things, or like people don't like when other people try to control them. And so I think that, again, there's this victim mentality that's coming through. But I do think there is some feeling of isolation. For some of these people, they've been waiting to hear from somebody, and maybe this is like, I don't know. It could be so many things. It could be to hear if they're getting a job, to hear from someone they're romantically interested in. It could be many things, and they keep checking and checking and checking, and they're not. And so they're feeling sort of disappointed. There's a lot of disappointment energy for this person here. Things are not working out the way that they want. And this is part of the reason that they are so controlling, because I think that they have maybe always sort of felt this way, like life isn't going their way. And so they try to control life and control the people around them and their circumstances, but it's not working. That's pretty obvious. This is someone who might like trust animals more than they trust people. And so, you know, I really get this victim feeling of like, let me just go home and spend time with my cat because, you know, no one else is worth my time, you know. But it's like they have this like sort of ego about it where they blame everybody else for it instead of looking at why people don't want to spend time with them. That's sort of the energy that I'm getting. It's like, yeah. And like, you know, sometimes maybe someone is like, hey, can I tell you something? Like, you did this thing earlier and like it kind of bothered me, or it bothered other people. And like they're trying to like give them feedback and so that they can improve and like have an easier time with people. But they're like, no, they don't want to listen to feedback from anybody else. Yeah, their shirt here says over it. They're just like, you know, they think they're right. Again, this person thinks they are always right. They don't want to listen to anyone else. They don't want to receive feedback, which I get. Like, nobody likes negative feedback, okay? But they could, if they just listened to other people or looked around and took any of it seriously, they could alter their circumstances quite a bit and they wouldn't feel so alone and lonely. But they're not willing to. And so it's kind of like you can't really feel that bad for them because they've gone through life this long being given feedback. Here we go. Like they've gotten feedback all these times and like they don't feel good about it. They don't like it, but they don't do anything about it. And that's fine. They don't have to, but they're going to continue to be in the same circumstances they are because people don't like things that they're doing. And while there are people who are putting up with it, a lot of people don't like it. And even if people are acting fine around them, they can sense the energy that they are not very liked. But again, they're not doing anything to change that. And this is an adult is what I feel like. And so, you know, it's like they keep creating this, like I said before, like a fantasy land where they are living and just acting like it's the world's fault that all these things are happening instead of looking at their part to play. And yeah, like we're all a victim in some ways, right? Like we don't get to control everything that happens in life. We, you know, have people hurt us. We have illnesses. We lose jobs. Like things happen to us. And most of the time when these things happen, it's not fair. Okay. And like a lot of times it has nothing to do with us. We didn't cause it. We just have to live with it. But this person causes a lot of their own distress. and they don't want to do anything to change that. And so I kind of can't feel bad for them because, they're doing it to themselves to a degree. And I think they might always have some of these habits or patterns or ways of being. But if they were willing to pay attention to other people's responses to them and they were willing to change some of that, they would feel a lot more fulfillment and joy in relationship to others. But they're still trying so hard to control it and to make it their way without realizing other people exist and other people are real too. This is one of those people where it's just like they refuse to believe that other people are real and they see them as sort of like characters in their game, but their game isn't working out because they're seeing it incorrectly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, this is someone who just kind of sulks around. They're always like sulking when things don't go their way, which I don't think things go their way nearly as much as they would like them to. And I think this victim mentality, this very specific mentality that they've had has been since they were a kid. I think that when they were in school, they definitely were not very well liked or approved of. And so because that was really hurtful for them, I think that instead of, maybe because they couldn't be any different, maybe because they are just kind of this way and it would take so much effort on their part to change and it feels like fake in some way for them or something, that they decided to blame everybody else. And they were like, poor me, like, I'm the wounded one, like nobody accepts me and has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. It's that kind of vibe, and they're never going to get out of this if they don't face the fact that they're the ones being super difficult with other people. And like if they could even change this a little bit, they would have more acceptance and more love. Will this person learn from how they affected you and others? Okay. We have the Lovers. Are they sorry? I think we already know they're not sorry, but we're going to ask. How about this? Will they ever be sorry for the way they've acted? Can I have just one card, please? Temperance. Okay. Will they learn from how they affected you? And will they ever be sorry? Well, it could go either way, to be honest with you. So, they have that choice. It is very much here for them to choose. It always has been here for them to choose. It will always be here. So, it's basically for them to decide whether or not they want to look at themselves and look at the way that they affect other people. Also, the angel on this card, the way that this angel is looking away makes me think that right now they're not willing to look at the truth. Okay. So they're like, no, my poor heart. Like it's this very still the victim thing that is coming forward. And it's like people are like basically being very honest here and like bearing their souls and saying and trying to say like, this is how you're affecting us. And they're just like, no, I can't be bothered with that. You're the ones hurting me. So I don't think anytime soon that they are going to face the ways that they affect people, but the choice will always be there. So people will continue to say something. People will continue to react to the way that they are. It's interesting that we have two angel cards here, and both of these angels have red wings. And for some reason, that's making me think stubbornness. They're so stubborn. Yeah, so the Temperance card makes me think like, will they be sorry one day? It makes me think, yes. Like one day they will face the truth. They will be willing to look at what's happening. They will slow down enough to allow that to come forward. But also they may not, because for some reason I sense this insane stubbornness where even though they're like doing the work or taking the steps, they refuse to fully make that leap. So even if they feel sorry, I don't think they're going to say sorry. And I don't think that you even want to hear a sorry for them. Like, I sense this person is just more irritating than they are hurtful or harmful, and that they live in their own kind of like world, and it affects everyone around them. But I think that there is a chance that they're going to take some accountability for this and look at themselves. I don't think you're ever going to hear a sorry. I don't think that you're going to see a huge change. If this is someone who's like stuck in your life because they're in your family somehow, you might notice that they sort of like calm down in some ways over time. Like if they're bossy, you might notice that they're not bossing everyone around, and instead they're like it could be that they like have sort of like tools that they rely on to calm themselves down instead of come towards someone. So you might notice they like have their glass of wine that they drink when they want to say something. They just take a sip of their wine, or like they leave the room and they go to the bathroom. Like you might notice this person, like their irritation levels are rising, but they don't do the same things that they once did. So you might notice that over time. If this is someone in like a work situation or something, I don't think that you are going to have to be around them for the rest of your life. But I do see a calming down at some point, but their like inner victim and inner rage still kind of is always there to a degree, even if they change a little bit. And I think that, for some reason I see them in a situation where it's like therapy or something, where someone is giving them tools to deal with things, and they use them in sort of like a weird way. Like instead of actually growing and changing, they're just like, I won't say anything this time. And instead I'm going to go calm myself down and ground myself by like putting my feet in the grass. But it's like, they're not actually doing anything real. They're just like using these tools to not be as reactive, which is maybe helpful because other people aren't as annoyed because they're not constantly having to be like the center of attention and boss everybody around. What's going to happen between you moving forward? The Chariot, the Nine of Pentacles. Do I want to get a third one? Come on. Okay, the Nine of Cups. I have too many cards here. They're starting to look kind of crazy. Okay. So what's going to happen between you two moving forward? Well, I think the Chariot is a pretty good sign because it shows you moving in the direction that you want to go, and very quickly in that direction. And I see this as kind of like both of you. Like I see you as the Nine of Pentacles and this person as the Nine of Cups. And while the Nine of Cups is usually quite happy, and this is a person with like their wishes fulfilled and they have plenty to share and things are working out for them. Look at these crossed arms. Like for me, she seems so stubborn again. And like, so yeah. And I think like, look at the Nine of Pentacles lady. So she's kind of like, yeah, she still exists. So, okay. If, like I said, if this is someone like in your family or something, like you're probably going to experience them in some way long term, there is going to be sort of an understanding between you, but also a distance. So you might find that you become less irritated over time because you do just start to understand who they are. And if they do become sort of quieter and they're not as obnoxious, you don't feel as annoyed, because it kind of feels like they are containing themselves with themselves to a degree. And you just kind of like go about life and whatever you need to do, and they're still in your vicinity, but they're less of it. It's less important, and you're fulfilled in so many other ways that it just doesn't really super matter what they're up to. And I think that like you just continue to get more and more wisdom and things that help you to handle their behavior. But I think also they are sort of being more self-contained. So I think that they are being less obnoxious. They are still obnoxious, and it's like all those qualities are still there, but they're not trying to boss everybody around as much. Yeah, I feel kind of like you're just kind of like tired of them, but you're like, whatever. Like they're just here in the periphery. Like they think they're the only real person that exists, but like I just don't really care. That's kind of how it feels like it is for you. I don't think there's ever a situation where you guys are best buddies. I don't think that either one of you ever really likes the other one, though I think that you coexist somewhat peacefully. And somehow there is forward motion to create this peaceful coexistence. You kind of are turned away from one another. Like if we look here at the Chariot, and it's like one's light and one's dark, and they're sort of like both right there, but you're not really interacting with one another. You're kind of in your own little worlds. And I think this person tries to like your nemesis. I think they try to sort of like, they're like working on boundaries, but somehow their boundaries feel kind of weird. Like either they choose to like lie about things, or like, I don't know, their boundaries are distorted in some way. Like it's another way for them to somehow act like a victim. And I can't fully explain what that means, but somehow it might be that they're using kind of like therapy speak and things like that. Because if they do go to therapy and they're like working on like tools and things like that, it just feels, so much of it feels very shallow, but they like talk about it and they use it to seem some certain way. And like, it's just kind of like you're rolling your eyes, you know, it's just like, okay, they never really change. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that you're just more and more unbothered by them. And if you can get away from them, you absolutely will. So if you have an opportunity to go in a direction that doesn't involve them, you know, if they're just part of an organization or something and you're not super tied to that, and you can become part of one that doesn't involve them, that might be an option for you. Or if you can go in a direction that doesn't directly involve them day to day, I think that you will. But yeah, you're never going to be like good friends with this person. That's just not going to happen. They're not going to change enough. And you're certainly not going to change in that direction, because you'd be going backwards if you did. Will they get their due? Will there be justice? I mean, it doesn't seem like they really hurt you. They're just kind of annoying, but let's find out anyway. Okay, we'll do the Queen of Wands and the Five of Swords. I mean, I know we've pulled a lot of cards, but it's so funny how many of these are the same from the first group. So yes, I will say that I think in some way there is justice. Okay. So, I think on the one hand, you're able to have distance from them, whether you get away from them completely, or you are just able to create distance where you don't have to deal with them as much. And I think as long as you stay comfortable and confident, and like you don't just let them get away with anything, that is in and of itself a sort of justice. So stay strong with what you believe to be right. Don't let them get away with whatever they've been getting away with. And maintain your sense of calm with that, but do not be shy or afraid to say what you need to say, or to do what you need to do, or to have your own very strong boundaries and be very authentic when you are dealing with them. There's no reason to people please this person, or to, you don't need to stay quiet. I mean, you can if that's the right response, but I see you just kind of, doing whatever you need to do, whether that's what you've been doing already or not. And in that way, there is sort of them getting their due, because I don't think they're used to people being so upfront. I think people definitely say things to them, but I think that there's sort of a justice in just being honest, unflinchingly honest. You don't have to be mean, and I don't see you being mean, but being unafraid of saying the truth. Like if they're saying something false and you're like, that's not true, go ahead and say it. Because I think that is actually them getting their due in some way. And not being afraid to sort of like offend the other people in the room. Like I'm not saying be offensive, okay? But like if other people are very people pleasy to this person, don't worry about them, okay? Like it doesn't matter what they think or what they do. Like you know the truth, and don't be mean to anybody. Like I'm definitely not saying to be mean, but just you can call things out. And as long as you are unafraid of any consequences, and the consequences feel minor to me, then that's going to be just fine. And in that sense, there is a justice. And also, I think that other people will also be grateful someone spoke up in the way that you did. And I would kind of like not worry about this person and be sort of unbothered and just not let them get away with their crap, you know? But this doesn't feel like a super serious situation, just someone that is generally consistently irritating. And I don't think that they have a big bearing on your life, but if you have to deal with them all the time, obviously that feels more major. But I don't really have a lot more information here. This is really all I'm seeing. So thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you did like this reading, please like and subscribe. And I will see you again soon. Okay? Bye, Group 2. Hi, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose this double card from the Kawaii Tarot. As a quick reminder, we're doing a reading about your nemesis, basically someone you kind of can't stand, someone that hurt you, someone that you don't like right now. Okay. And I'm going to put this card in the deck. We're going to go ahead and shuffle, but we're going to look at why we hate this person, what they did do or are doing, what other people who also maybe don't like them think about them, how they currently feel about you, what's not going well or going wrong for them in life right now. We will look at, will they learn from how they affected you? Are they sorry? Hold on, I have to cough. Okay, sorry, too much talking. We're going to look at what's going to happen between you two moving forward. And finally, will they get their due? Will there be justice? Okay. Okay, so Group 3, why do we hate your nemesis? What did they do or what are they doing to you? Page of Swords, 8 of Cups, and the King of Swords. Okay, so the first thing that I'm getting is quite similar to the last group. So if this sounds like what you're dealing with, you might want to check out the last group, actually, Group 2. So I'm getting like another like bossy person. So if someone has been bossing you around, or you have an annoying boss or someone in authority is being annoying, I think Group 2 actually might be your group. And I mean, it's possible. We'll see where this goes. But I also get the sense that you have left a person or a group or a community behind where people showed their true colors, or where you realized you were quite different from the people there, or in some way, it kind of feels like toxic masculinity a little bit, like, or like people were, I don't know, they ended up like just not being your people in some way, and they either forced you out or you realized you needed to leave. I think that this is a situation where you are in the process of walking away, you're considering walking away, or you have walked away. And it feels like, I'm hearing like in between a rock and a hard place. And I think that's because on both sides here, we have someone like holding this sword. And I feel like you're this person in the middle that's like, you're not of this same vibe that's happening on either side. And I know these cards are just like really cute, but, you know, I don't think these energies right now are very cute. And it makes me kind of think like these people who, I want to say they pushed you out in some way, whether they meant to or not. They see themselves as quite innocent, and they see you as a problem in some way, or you perceive them seeing you as a problem. And I think that, if this was a group, someone that was in a position of authority in some way, or multiple people had a part to play in this, and then also people who were not in a position of authority had a part to play. And yeah, I think that you felt sort of unwanted in some way, or you felt like you just didn't belong. And I think that you might have a softer energy than these people, and it just wasn't suitable to be there anymore. And you were starting to realize, like, I'm not a part of this same energy. I mean, we have the swords on either side of you and your cups. And so I think that you might be either a more emotional person, a more emotionally mature person, a more sensitive person. Again, I'm getting the sense that it's very possible that you could be a woman and you were in a male-dominated space. That's not necessarily the truth. And these people, I think because they are swords and it's making me think thoughts, I think their thoughts about you were distorted or incorrect. And it's almost like they became very like defensive against you. Like they were very against you in some way. I don't know if it was in a really dramatic way or not, but it was like you had this realization. It's like, I don't belong here. Here are all the reasons why. And I'm going to go search for fulfillment elsewhere. This is not right. I don't know if it was a work situation or a different kind of community that you were part of, but it does feel like there are two or more people involved. And I think that there are more than two. I think that there was some harshness here, and it almost feels like people were like, this is the truth about group 3, but it wasn't the truth about you. And so it kind of feels unfair, because I think that this energy of all these people around you were not accepting of you, or you felt they weren't accepting of you, or you just didn't belong in some way. And it started to feel wrong. And you felt you were carrying too much and you didn't fit in some way. And I don't know if you ever did. And these people think they're right. They're just like, yep, we're right about group 3. We know what's going on. And you're like, no, you don't. But like, you're almost like too tired to deal with it anymore. There's something toxic about it. But the people involved don't think that they are toxic. They think you are. And I think that you feel sad about this. I think whatever happened did create a lot of emotional difficulty for you. I think there's a lot of emotions either currently involved or involved when this happened. And there's a lot of unfairness, it feels like. It's like they ganged up on you too, and you were stuck in the middle of something. What do other people... do we want to get more information on this? No, that's fine. You'll know if it's you or not. What do other people think about these people? And specifically people that also may not like them. What do other people think of these people? Your nemesis. What do other people think of your nemesis? King of Coins, which is King of Pentacles. Page of Coins, Page of Pentacles. How interesting that we had the page, right? The Page and the King of Swords, and now we have the Page and the King of Coins. That was several cards, and I just want one. Okay. And the Seven of Cups. Okay, so specifically for some reason when I look at the Seven of Cups and this octopus, it kind of feels like somebody thinks they are in charge of everybody else. So I don't know if this is an authority figure in this group or someone else who thinks they are an authority figure. Again, I'm getting slightly similar vibes to group 2, but this person with their like tiny little hat and like their bug eyes, I don't know, something about them makes me think like, and the way they're like holding everybody, I just feel like they think that they are bigger than they are. And what I mean by that is like they think they have more influence and power than they actually have, or they let it go to their head. And they like to control everybody and everything around them. This is someone who is being exceedingly controlling, who is using their power to an insane degree. And like, yeah, they're letting it get to their head. It's like, and I think that other people find it very irritating. Like, I don't think this shark likes being held onto by the octopus. Like this person, yeah, I think that they may have a certain amount of power and they've like expanded that in some way to be overly, they're on a power trip. They're on a power trip and they're being controlling. And, they think they're like big man on campus in some way. They think they're like the most important person in this place. And they like to wield power to control everything around them and not to like keep it organized, not to make things better, not to improve anything for anyone, but literally because they've let the power go to their head and they like being in control and they like to have things be in their hands. And I think that they are sort of like, I don't know what the word is. They sort of feel like irrational about it or something. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no logic to it. It's literally because they like doing it. And other people are annoyed by this because we asked, what other people think about them. Other people are noticing this about this person. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel like this little creature here is rolling its eyes. I think people like kind of go along with it because they have no other choice. So I think this person actually does have some power, but they don't like it. It's like, and the starfish I feel like is being silenced. Like the shark looks unhappy. The whale looks like it's distracting itself with something else. The ship I think is being off course. Like people are very annoyed by this person and, what they're doing to control others. And I get that vibe a little bit with the King of Coins here too, is like someone thinks they're in charge. And this someone also thinks that they are beloved, which I think is hilarious because they are not. They are very clearly not beloved by all. And with the Page of Coins, I think what they are is they actually are the page, but they think of themselves as the king and they're acting like the king because they think that this is their position, their right. They think they're king of the castle in some way. And they think that everyone else is happy about it. They think that people like it. They think other people like them. And everyone's just happy to follow their rules. And this person is like so small in some way. And yet they think of themselves as so big. And so I think that other people just think they're slightly annoyed about it because they're like, okay, like they sort of for some reason have to listen to the rules, but they don't think that it's right. And they're just like, this little idiot is like making things annoying for all of us in some way. How does this person currently feel about you? Or how do these people currently feel about you? Okay, we've got the 6 of Coins, 6 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups. Come on. I think that there are multiple people involved here because I think that There's a lot of different things being thought about you. And we have the Six of Wands. All right. For some reason, the first thing I'm getting is they think you're better than them in some way. Maybe you are. Okay. That's all I have to say about that. I think that for some reason, this Nine of Cups is making me think that they feel judged by you, that maybe you have moved on from this community in some way and have changed in some way or grown, or they think that you have, and they think that you look back on them with like disdain, or they think that you're so curious about what they're up to. But also the reason I also think that they feel like you think you're better than them is this Six of Coins, or they think that you're doing it better than them in some way. Yeah, even the Six of Wands is giving me that vibe. So they either think that you feel superior to them, or they see you as superior to them, or for some reason they think you're like extremely curious about what they're up to. They think maybe you're thinking about them a lot. If this is multiple people, because I think it is, some of them think you're better off if you've walked away, or they think that your life is better than theirs in some way. They think that you're wiser. And that somehow you won. I don't know what that means. I think that in some ways, some people feel trapped in this situation and they think that you've gotten your freedom. But weirdly, there's also some energy of them thinking they're better than you. I think that they might think that they gave more than they did in a positive way. I think that they see themselves in a brighter light than you see them. And I don't know. I don't know if you're friends with these people or not, but they like think in some way you're still friends. Like if you saw each other, you would like wave hello and be happy to see each other and catch up. Some think you're better off without them. I don't know. There's too many energies here for some reason to get like there's a few different things happening. Like people have different thoughts about you, which I think is why this is a group. Some people think this, some people think that, some people think this. And I don't know. There's a distance here. Like I kind of feel like, there's not a lot of, like, I don't see like obsessiveness really. You might think about this more than these people think about you if you've already walked away from this, or even if you haven't, this may be more on your mind than it is on their mind. Like this is more important because it's been stressful for you. I don't think it's necessarily stressed them out. I think this is just their day to day. This is how they operate. And that's too, like you're different from them. And you never really fit in because you operate in a different way. And so for you, really, it's more of a realization of that. And these are your nemesis. You don't like them. But I don't know that I don't think they really dislike you. I actually think that they think you dislike them. Like they may be able to pick up on that. They may feel judged in some way. But I'm not picking up on a lot of dislike from them toward you currently. What's not going well for these people? And you know what? Because I'm getting multiple people, I don't know if you want to think of one person. I guess we can think of them as a group and just see what comes out. What's not going well for these people or this person? What's going wrong for these people right now? What's not going well? Four of Swords. Well, Nine of Coins, Pentacles. Wheel of Fortune. Man, those cards came out way faster than any of the previous ones. So that makes me think that things are not going very well for them. Some way. Well, with the Wheel of Fortune, I would say fate in some way is taking the wheel. Well, I want to say actually that some of these people are stuck in a cycle, stuck in a loop, stuck in a repetition of some kind of pattern that keeps repeating and over and over. And because we asked what's not going well for them, this is a pattern that is not healthy. Yeah. And I think it's like these same people day in, day out doing the same thing. No real change. They're not getting off the wheel. They're just staying in their little teacup or whatever it is, just going around the circle every day, doing the same thing every year. Nothing's really changing. And that's not good because we asked what's going wrong for them. So they're stuck in an unhealthy cycle of some kind, and no one seems to be in any kind of hurry to get out of this. And they're kind of like up here past the clouds, like they can't even see the earth anymore. So I don't know if they enable one another or if there is substance use or if there is some kind of like distraction that they are all using together. Like maybe they all play games together or something, some way that they are not living in grounded reality. They're escaping together. And this is unhealthy in some way. And no one is trying to leave this situation. So they're going to grow old doing this basically. And because you left or are leaving this situation, you hopped off this wheel, whether you were ever on it or not. I mean, maybe you were just like standing over here, you were part of it, but you chose health and well-being and going off of this cycle in order to take care of yourself. And I feel like in some ways, what's not going well for them is these people are asleep in some way. And again, this could be one person. I don't know that it's a group, but in some way, they are asleep to what's happening. Like these little figures could be protecting the sleeping ones, or they could be like stealing their things. And they're just asleep, and they're asleep together. Again, in some way, there are people enabling one another to stay asleep in some way or to not be in reality somehow together. And yeah, and even the mushrooms are making me think that. So again, I'm thinking it could be substances or something of this nature where they're not living in grounded reality day to day, and together they enable one another to stay quote unquote asleep. Yeah, and I don't think any of these are poppies, but I'm hearing poppies as I look at these flowers, which is making me think like opium, opiates. So it's very possible that somehow something like this is involved with these people, and it's keeping them in a state of sort of a sleepy, dreamy quality where they're not ever truly moving forward. They're repeating things over and over again. They're sort of staying asleep and sleepy in some way, and they're doing it together. They're supporting one another in this habit or whatever it is. Yeah, and it's like they're just asleep to these creatures with swords. They're not paying attention. And because this flower is looming over them, it just kind of feels like it's controlling what's happening. And while it sort of has, because it has this sleepy, dreamy quality, in a way, it's very like relaxing to feel. It's comforting, but the problem is that it's blinding them to reality. It's keeping them stuck in a loop, and they are just aging while they're in this loop. Life is basically passing them by. Yeah. And because all these flowers are here, and again, I don't think any of these are poppies, but it's making me think poppies and whatever this is that is sort of has a control over them that they've chosen to do together. It is infiltrating their entire life. And while it may make things feel better while it's happening, and that it's like a comfort in a way, and that it provides something for them, a gift, it feels like there's a falseness or a shallowness to that. So I kind of feel like all these boxes, other than the one we can see open, are actually empty. So in some way it feels like they are getting a gift, but there's nothing actually there. And when they open the box, there's nothing there. So there's nothing fulfilling. There's nothing real. They were living in illusion. And I think that reality could come crushing down at some point. I think that it's starting to sneak up on them. Will this person or these people learn from how they affected you? King of Cups. Judgment. Are they sorry? And I don't really know, the Fool. I don't know fully how if they harmed you or if it was just uncomfortable. I don't really have a lot of details on that. But will they learn from how they affected you? Yes, I think so. And if this is multiple people, I think some of them will. And I think some of them won't. And because, okay, so the King of Cups is typically the most emotionally mature individual in the deck, right? And so yes, we could say that those that have emotional maturity or are working on their emotional maturity will look at the ways they've affected you and other people and take some accountability for that with judgment. However, this King of Cups and the way he's just soaring over the water, like all these things are happening below the surface, below him. He's not noticing any of it or paying any attention. And so this makes me think that some people are continuing to ride the wave of illusion. They're not willing to look below the surface and see the layers of things happening below them. They are pretending to be emotionally mature. And for some reason, him wearing the cape and like all his accessories, everything he's holding just makes me think he's faking it. So it makes me think he's faking maturity. He's saying the words, maybe he's pretending to take the actions. He's like wearing the mask of maturity, but it's not real. And it feels like he's like walking along, carrying these like cups. Again, if substances are involved here, I think that he's like, it's like he's going to meet his friend. He's like, I've got one for me and one for you. It's like he's continuing this process. So I think that at least if this is a group, at least some of these people will not take accountability or learn how they've affected others because they are going to remain in this sleepy, dreamy state where they pretend to be someone that they are not truly because they're not willing to go deep enough to ever sort that out. However, with judgment, I think that some people are absolutely waking up or going to wake up to the truth. They are going to heed the call of healing, taking accountability, facing themselves and others. And a lot of times judgment can be looking at your own behaviors, judging yourself for your actions of the past and not being judgmental about it, but looking clearly at the things that you've done and holding yourself accountable for those things in order to have clarity, in order to wake up to the truth, in order to move forward. And a lot of times in the judgment card, you will see these like people kind of waking up from coffins where they were like asleep or dead in some way. And then they're like waking up because they hear this call. So I think that, again, I believe this is a group of people. Some will stay the same, some will change, and some will learn. As far as if people will be sorry, yeah, I mean, we could say that people who stay the same are never going to be sorry. Okay. This person isn't paying attention to any of this. He's turned this way. He's continuing to go that way instead of moving toward the future or toward anything different. So some people, no, they're not going to be sorry. Some people, yes, they will be. And the Fool is the start of a new cycle. Okay. It's like waking up, beginning again. It tends to be a very happy card. It's very, hopeful and optimistic and innocent, and it's a fresh start and a new beginning. And so I would say, yes, there are going to be people who are sorry. And I do, because of these little creatures with their little bags here, I think that you might get some apologies in the future. And I do think it would just be like one or two. I don't think you're going to get a lot of apologies. So I don't know, say there were 10 people involved in this and 2 people one day say they're sorry. Or you may like run into someone if you've left the situation and because you ran into them, they're like, hey, I'm kind of sorry about how things went. It doesn't seem like these are big sorries. It kind of feels like you're over it in some way anyway. Like you're starting a new cycle. And so you're not as attached to this anyway. But if you happen to run into them, they'd be like, hey, I'm sorry. I played a part in that, and it feels like the people who maybe weren't that bad to start with, I kind of feel like the worst ones that you dealt with, and I don't know if this was like really a lot of harm or not, but the worst people you dealt with, like, again, I'm getting like, I want to say like toxic masculinity. I don't know if these were men or not. But it feels like the ones who have this toxicity, you're not going to get a sorry from them. They don't care. But the people who maybe witnessed something that happened, or they sort of played a part, maybe they gossiped or something, or they didn't stand up for you or someone else or something like that. Those people who always kind of was like, they're the ones who might actually feel sorry. But this doesn't feel like a huge deal. I don't think you're really going to deal with a lot of these people again. And with that said, what's going to happen between you and these people moving forward? 3 of Cups. The 5 of Coins. And the 2 of Cups. Okay, well, let's see. Well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe you will encounter some of these people again, or you'll still know some of them. So again, there's a few different energies, probably because there are different people involved. So, I don't know. So if you did walk away from this, if this is a group and you walked away from them, do you still know some of them? Or will you know some of them? Because, the 3 of Cups is like celebrating usually with other people. And since we're asking what's happening between you, there seems to be you celebrating with other people. So I don't know if you keep a couple people in your life, or you're still friendly with some of them, or somehow some of them also leave this place and you still know them. And then there is, with the 5 of Pentacles, there's definitely like they're doing their own thing and you're doing your own thing. And I want to say that they are these wounded flying creatures who kind of just fly by. Like, either they don't exist for you anymore, or you just kind of like see them in passing, or you like briefly will see them on social media, or you'll hear something about them, but they're not part of your existence. They're on the outside of your existence, and you're watching from the window with people that are like you and and people that you trust. So, and then the 2 of Cups, of course, is like a reciprocal, enjoyable relationship with somebody that you get and that gets you. So, but I also wonder if this is just you having moved on to relationships with people or groups that are more suitable to you, that are more like you, because you were showing up in the Cups to start with, and this is in the Cups here too, and here too. So, in the 2 of Cups and the 3 of Cups. So I think on the one hand, you're spending time with people who are right for you, who are more similar to you, who get you, who may be more emotionally mature, who may be more sensitive, people that are more comfortable for you and that you feel safer with, definitely. And these other people from the past are just kind of like flying by, fading out of your purview, and you're happy because you're safe and comfy and cozy with people that appreciate you and that work well with you and that are just more you than these other people were. But there's also the chance that if this was a group, a couple of these people are still in your life, but I don't think that you would consider them nemesis then. And so I don't know if there were two specific individuals or something from this group that, because I keep getting these two different energies of like, no, they're very similar energies, but like two separate people maybe, that were especially toxic towards you in some way, or like made you feel like you didn't belong or something like that. But other than them, everyone else may not have been a problem. But either way, like I see you being like cozy, comfy, happy, relaxed, in relation to others in a way that is a lot healthier, and whatever you moved away from was good. And I think that you may get news about these people at some point, but they kind of just fly by. They're not part of your day to day. They're not part of your life. So will these people get their due? Will there be justice for whatever happened? Seven of coins, three of coins. Those are pentacles, of course. Five of wands. Will they get their due? Will there be justice? Might be yes and no, but definitely yes for some people. So with the seven of coins here, the seven of pentacles, it feels like some people will have had enough. So it's like, but they're kind of stuck. So in some way, I don't know if this is very nice, but there's justice in the sense that some people are kind of just stuck living this life because they can't see anything else. They're so attached to it. They're so addicted to it in some way, or it has become the way that they live, or they can't see outside of it, that they're sort of stuck there. And I don't know if that's very nice to say that that's justice, but it's not like they're just like, they have all this bounty around them, but they're not happy. They're just laying there on top of it, because I think that, listen, if like we're talking about a substance or an addiction of some kind, this person has a high tolerance at this point. So I don't know if that's what's happening or not, but it's not causing them joy anymore. Like, look at all this cheese, like all these different kinds, like, that should be like exciting and like yummy and all that stuff. But it's like, they're tired because it's not enough. It's like nothing's enough anymore. And they're having it in order to maintain the status quo. Does that make sense? And with the five of wands, I mean, this is a pretty cute five of wands, but there's conflict here and there's disagreements. And the fact that they're on a cactus, it's like they're choosing to be in a place that is going to give them pain in order to remain connected to one another, or because they can't escape it for some reason. It's all they know. But it's like they could easily get off of this sharp, pointy cactus and do something else. But again, I'm getting substances and addiction because this cactus is living in a cup. You know what I mean? It's like there's a beverage here that it's hurting them, but they are attached to it. Do you see what I mean? And they're cranky and crabby because they are fighting with one another and they're starting to see one another's differences. And so I think there's some justice in the fact that they are no longer so harmoniously on this Ferris wheel, stuck in this like pattern that's like dreamy and hazy. They're not able to stay in this dreamy, hazy life anymore because it's becoming real. They're starting to feel the way that it's causing them pain, distress, crankiness, fights with one another. And there's a justice in the fact that they're not all getting along anymore. So they may have ganged up on you in some way, or they all seemed so similar and you were different. Well, guess what? They're all different from one another, and they're starting to figure that out. And it's not fun because they're also still stuck together. They're not walking away. They're continuing to stay stuck to this. Do you see what I mean? And they're on this Ferris wheel. They're stuck on, and it's a teapot and a cup, and like they're stuck doing whatever this is over and over and over again. There's a cup right there, and they're doing it together. So I don't know if they get their due. There is a justice in this somehow, in that things are finally coming to the surface and they can't stay in an illusion forever. However, it is painful, and maybe there's a justice in that, because if they caused you pain in some way, maybe a little part of you is gleeful. I don't know, that there is some pain being returned to them in some way, but it's like, I don't know, it feels kind of embarrassing. It feels like they're outgrowing their cups. But they can't leave them. They're stuck. These people are stuck. They're stuck where they are. They're stuck doing the same thing day in and day out. They are stuck to their temptations, whatever holds them where they are. And I don't get the sense that these are like particularly evil people. Like, I don't know how badly they hurt you, if they did hurt you, but they're stuck because they're all stuck in the same way in some way. And it's sort of embarrassing in a way, because I keep seeing them all getting older and they're still doing the same thing, but you've moved on to live your own life. And I think there's enough justice in that, to be honest with you. And I think that's honestly all I've really got. Yeah, thank you for letting me read for you. I do hope that this was helpful in some way. If you did like the reading, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Okay, group 3, bye. Hi, group 4. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Devil card from the Golden Thread Tarot. As a quick reminder, we're doing a reading on your nemesis. Basically, someone you kind of can't stand, someone that hurt you, someone you don't like. I don't know. But I'm going to put this card back in the deck and we're going to shuffle, but we are going to look at why we hate them. What did they do or are doing? What do other people think about them? And specifically, hopefully, people that also don't like them in some way. How do they currently feel about you? This is such an enjoyable deck to shuffle. But we're also going to look at what's not going well for them, what's going wrong for them right now. Will they learn from how they affected you? Are they sorry? What's going to happen between you moving forward? And finally, will they get their due? Will there be justice? Okay, so group 4, why do we hate your nemesis? What did they do? What are they doing? Why don't we like them? Okay, we have the King of Cups, the 5 of Pentacles. Oops, too many. And the Knight of Swords. I feel like I said that really quietly. I don't even know if you heard it. We've got the Knight of Swords. Okay, I'm getting the vibe that this is somebody who pretended to be better than they were or different than they were. And there's a few scenarios that I see right away. So certainly could be a dating situation. I also, because of the Church with the 5 of Pentacles, I do get the sense that this could be someone in a spiritual center of some kind. I do get dating vibes more than anything. But it also could be a friendship. Basically, someone pretended to be better than they were. So this person, I kind of wonder if this person is older than you and but now you realize you're more mature than them, something like that. But this person basically came across as or acted like they are emotionally mature. This might even be someone that when you think back on them, they used a lot of therapy speak, like therapy type of language, or they spoke about things in a way that made them sound kind of emotionally wise or intelligent in some way, or spiritually wise or intelligent in some way. And then over time, you realized that this was not the case. So I'm getting a little bit of group 1 vibes. So if this feels sort of right for you, but you might want to check out group 1 and see if that's your group. But I'm not saying it is, but I'm getting some similar vibes at the start. Kind of someone that came in better and then left worse in some way. So I think this is someone who acted like they had a lot to give, maybe did come across quite generous at first. Maybe they were love bomby. Maybe they were giving you things. Maybe they were like, oh, please, like, join me in some way. Like there's this energy with these hands. Join me. Like, come into my home. Come into my community. Meet my friends. Like if this is a spiritual place, it was like, you're welcome here. Like you belong. It's that very like, there's this like soft openness and an invitation of some kind. And they made you feel like they were being vulnerable with you in some way. And they may even made you open yourself up to be vulnerable. And what I see is that you got tricked a little bit. Okay. And I'm not saying the Knight of Swords is bad, but that's what I'm seeing in this Knight of Swords is, I'm seeing somebody. Well, first of all, it's like they take off really quickly. So either they sort of tricked you in some way, had you be generous with them in some way, and then they bounced. Or they made you believe all these things about them if you were dating them, and then they found someone they like better. So they're like, bye. Like this is someone who like did not care. And you thought they did because of how they spoke, how they talked to you, how they invited you in. And then they just, without a care, were like, never mind. It's this super, like, they quickly went off on their way, and they might have just been a complete asshole at the end too. So, this is someone who like just is actually so impulsive. But it's like, it's almost like they plan at the beginning and then they seem so impulsive at the end. So I don't know if this is a situation where you were really idealized and, then they devalued you and discarded you like nothing. That's what it feels like. And it feels like they took something from you. So I don't know if that's money with the pentacles and also because I'm getting money vibes, or if it's they took by having you open up and being vulnerable and like emotionally open and then them abandoning you. It's like they took something from you in that sense, or they pretended to be generous so that you would be generous and then they took off. And so you don't like them because of their obvious toxic traits. And it just seems like they were such a jerk at the end in some way. And it's so different than how they showed up in the beginning. So different. And so it's like, what the heck? And this, again, I'm thinking group 1. So, there might be messages for you there as well. This is someone who doesn't genuinely care about other people. They only care about themselves, but they have learned to pretend to care about other people. And so they really seemed like they cared, and they may have, offered you a safe haven in some way, or it felt like they were offering you a safe haven, but that wasn't the case. They flipped. So yeah, we hate them. Okay. I don't like them. What do other people think about this person? Other people who may not like them. I think people might be afraid to speak out about this person. So if there are other people that don't like them, and I guarantee there are, they might be afraid to say that, or you might never hear it from them, or, yeah, because I think this person might have control over people, or they're kind of scary in some way. Like, people might be afraid that this person is going to speak ill of them if they find out that someone spoke ill of them. This is someone who flips, and they're kind of scary and mean. Page of Swords. Three of Swords. Too many. Way too many. So that makes me think there's a lot of people that have been scorned by this individual. I think they just run around taking advantage of people, to be honest with you. Okay, and then we have the Nine of Swords. A lot of swords, huh? I think this person is stuck in other people's thoughts. I think people ruminate on this a lot because the same exact thing happened to them. I mean, it might not be down to the details. It might be. I think that they do kind of do the same thing over and over to people. And this causes distress, especially in people's thoughts. And this has caused, I don't know if I want to say mental illness. It's caused like mental difficulties with people. So it's caused depression, anxiety. Oh yeah. Lots of anxiety, of course, with the Nine of Swords, but also heartbreak. So I do think that, whether or not it was a romantic situation for you, this person has 100% done these things in romantic situations. This is a person who uses people and leaves them to pick up the pieces. And, there are, I would say, a lot of other people who do not like this person and don't like what happened to them because of this person. I'm definitely getting narcissist vibes. Because I think this person comes in very grandiose as well. And then they just turn on you. And I think that, so a lot of times at the start, people are very curious by this person because they come across as different in some way, or like, because of course they pull people in. So they're presenting some aspect of them, but people become sort of like curious, like, who's that? But also, I think that some of the people that have been burned are also like sort of curious. Like, it's like a morbid curiosity where they're like, what is wrong with that person? Like, they think about it, not just in the sense that like they might be heartbroken or they were tricked or it caused them anxiety or mental anguish in some way, but they're literally like fascinated by it because they're like, how can someone act like that? Like, it's a morbid curiosity where people may do a lot of research. Like they might be like, okay, did this person have a personality disorder or a condition? And they read all these books and they read all these forums online and they like do research and talk to people. So there's some of that happening. There is certainly heartbreak, depression, sadness, grief, loss, because I think some people thought like they met the love of their life and they believed in this and they believed in everything this person said. And maybe they were very vulnerable in ways that, like this person, I really think that they are incredibly harmful and it's intentional. I think that your nemesis, the person we're speaking about, is intentionally harming other people. And I think that they get a sick sort of pleasure out of having someone open up to be vulnerable to them and then piercing these swords through their heart and causing grief and pain. And then they're on their way. I mean, certainly they could have been in long-term relationships, but I don't get the sense that I think that they use people relatively quickly, but they have people believing in the potential of this. And they have people believing that they are the King of Cups when they are not. And so it causes huge amount of distress and anguish in people, especially sensitive people who, of course, they use quite often. I think that there are lasting effects of anxiety in some of the people that have been harmed by this person. And there is betrayal, there is anger, there is sadness, there is why did this happen to me? This is so unfair. There's a lot of like sleepless nights. Like insomnia, waking up in the night, having nightmares about this person. I'm glad that I'm not feeling a lot of this emotional stuff, because what I am sensing is that this person is incredibly harmful in a way that most people are not. And I think that they leave devastation in their wake in some way. And it's very sickening. I think that, people don't think well of this person. And I don't think this person actually has a lot of people in their life who do think well of them. I don't think they're good at tricking people for the long term. And I think that's part of the reason they move so quickly. They get what they want and they move on to the next. I don't think they're interested in tricking people for the long term for the most part. I think that they get some kind of weird satisfaction over harming people like this. And I don't think they have the patience to deceive someone for years. I don't know that for sure, but it just feels very quick moving energy. Like there's so many people that they've left in their wake that are that are unwell at this point, or were greatly harmed by this. And the harm has lasted longer than the relationship lasted. How does your nemesis currently feel about you? Page of Wands. Okay, that was too many cards. Hierophant. Man, I think we've gotten the Hierophant in every pile, and I don't draw it very often. Okay, Ace of Cups. Well, okay, the way they think about people is kind of surprising, and the way they think about you is kind of surprising, because I would expect a lot more, I don't know, scary energy coming from them. But I think that their thinking is quite distorted, which is not a surprise. So maybe they took you more seriously than they've taken some of their other victims. And I say that because with the Hierophant here, it's making me think of, because sometimes the Hierophant is about marriage and long-term commitment and like traditional relationships. And because these figures are exactly the same, I think they saw, and with the Ace of Cups here, I think that they saw actual like potential. Like, I think they liked you more than they've liked a lot of people that they've used in some way. And I would say love, but I don't really feel like this person is capable of real love, at least not as they are now. But this might have also scared them, which is also why they moved so quickly away. Because it may be once they start to have like real feelings, they're like, oh no, like, you know, not because they're like, I only use people. I mean, kind of. I don't know if that part of it's conscious for them. But this is not how they operate. They don't operate by having long-term healthy commitments with other people. They don't operate by falling in love, because that would cause them to be vulnerable, and they can only be pretend vulnerable in order to use people. They are not real vulnerable. And so I think that part of the reason they may have swept away so quickly, or turned mean or whatever they did, is because this was not going to fit into how they do things. And in some way, they saw you as a counterpart, someone that meant something to them, You may have wanted a traditional relationship in some way. And I think a part of them wanted that too, but that would make them, they would need to change so dramatically and drastically. And they are not capable of that. Certainly not right now. And it would take a long time anyway. And yeah, so I do think that they feel like you're something special. You're different from other people that they've been involved with in some way. And, as much as they can feel love, they felt it for you. And yeah, you definitely seem to be unique in this string of people they've used, even if they used you just the same as other people. Because in some way, you had like a confidence about you, or a creativity, or the way you looked, or the way you talked. There was something about you that they felt more passion for and more excitement for, and they were more intrigued by. And so I think that this pulled a part of them to the surface a little bit that is more real and more capable of love. But because of their conditioning, their patterning, whatever is wrong with them, they are incapable of supporting something like that. And I think that there's still some fondness for you, actually. I think that they still think about you more than they think about other people that they have known. Yeah, they see you as above other people in some way, and they see you as something and someone special. I would not be surprised if they try to swoop back in and talk to you again at some point. So if everything has resonated so far, I would make sure that you've blocked them, because this is not someone healthy. But I think that they see you as quite healthy in some way and exciting in some way. And they may even have seen some similarities in you. And I'm hesitant to say that because I don't want you to think that they saw the same toxic traits in you that they have. But something within you, the way, like, maybe they are playful and they see you as being playful, or they have a very specific interest and you have that specific interest. It's something like that like they don't find in everybody else. And so they still think about you quite a lot, I'm going to say. And I think that they actually compare you to other people as well. And I don't think, this person definitely doesn't have a great deal of depth. Everything is kind of floating on the surface for them. And anything that seemed or sounded like depth in the beginning, you realized was not there, or you suspected was not there, and you were correct. But let's see what's not going well or what's going wrong for them right now. They definitely would not want you to know what's not going right for them right now. Okay, that was too many. So it does feel like things are not going their way, but in what way? Okay, we'll go with these. Does it go that way or the other way? We'll go with that again. No, it goes the other way. Okay, so we have the Magician, the Tower. We're going to get a final one. Okay. Jeez. The King of Swords. Okay, so on one hand, I feel like with the Magician, they're acting like everything is fine when it's not. So the reason I think that is, for some reason, this fire under the table feels like they're trying to hide it. It's not supposed to be there. They didn't build this fire. It's about to burn everything that they've been using. Like, they have all these things they've collected from other people in some way. Money, resources, secrets from people, tools so that they can manipulate better. things like this. And it's in danger of all burning up. And so I think that they either have always felt this way, or they're beginning to feel like they don't have any stability or solidity with this stuff. So it's like there's a frailty or a fragility, like everything that they use to manipulate or control or trick or whatever, they're constantly like using these things. And it's part of the reason they move so fast is because they know people are going to see through them. Like they don't even really believe in themselves. Like they have such a false confidence, and it feels like it's always on the verge of falling apart, completely falling apart. And they have this act, like they act like they are independent. They're not. They act like they can do everything on their own. But they're using people, and they act like they have everything they need. They act like a certain type of person that they are not. They are not the magician. They are acting like the magician. Yeah. And with the King of Swords, this also makes me think like they're all ego and defenses. Like he's got this armor on, and he's like prepared, and he's got the world in his hand, and he's like, I'm the king. But it's like all bravado. It's like pretend and pretense. It feels like this isn't his throne. It's like he took it from somebody else. He's pretending. Everything so far just feels like pretend. This person is pretending to be someone that they are not. And they are trying to convince themselves they are this powerful being. But how they gain power is by harming other people. And so it's not real. And they think they own everything and everybody. They think they are so much better than everybody. Yeah, there's definitely a grandiosity here. And you know, a lot of times with these people who think that they are better than everyone else, there is actually lurking below the surface a feeling of inferiority. And so they act so much in order to make themselves believe it. And I think to a degree, this person does believe these things about themselves, but what's going wrong for them is that feeling of inferiority and insecurity is they can't stuff it down. They keep putting on armor in all these different ways. They keep trying to act a certain way, but it's always there. It's always there. And they're so afraid that other people can see it, that's part of the reason they run so quickly. So it feels like they're always in danger of this tower moment of being seen. Like this eye here is like being exposed. It feels like at any moment, everything's going to crumble and fall. Anything could destroy what they've built, and they haven't built anything real. And I think that this is sort of like a constant. They're always kind of feeling this and thinking this. And so they're constantly moving on to the next person, distracting themselves by tricking somebody else, by doing whatever it is that they do. They're just moving on to the next, to the next, and the next. Because if they stay too long in one place, they're going to face destruction. And this feels like someone who cannot be alone. So I don't think that they have long-lasting relationships. So they don't actually have real support. They don't seem to have like, even if they do have long-term relationships, they're not solid. But they simultaneously cannot be alone. So they move from person to person to person to person to person. And it's unhealthy, and it's taking a toll on them, especially as they continue to get older. And they are facing a situation where everything is either going to fall apart, could fall apart. They're going to be outed in some way. And they're terrified of this. And I think that terror kind of lives with them, which is why they keep doing what they're doing. They're running. They continue to just run from it, but pretend that they're solid. Faking. Yeah, I just keep hearing faking. They're faking it. They're pretending to be what they're not. And they're so much smaller. Like they actually internally, they feel so much small. They feel smaller than other people. They feel less than. And so they're convincing themselves that they're not by doing the things that they're doing. Will this person learn from how they affected you? And are they sorry? I feel like they keep trying to escape accountability. Like if it even sneaks into their mind, they're not going to face it. They keep wriggling free. And are they sorry? Okay. We have the Two of Cups, the Moon, and the Empress. So will they learn from how they affected you? You know, because this Two of Cups is two intertwined snakes, I think that so on the surface, the Two of Cups is such a sweet and beautiful card. But in this case, and with this question and the way this card looks and feels, will they learn from how they affected you? I don't know, because it feels like they're trying to give you equal blame for something in some way. They see you as some kind of an equal. And while that sounds positive, you know, I don't really see them as a positive person. So I wouldn't really want to be their equal, you know? And I think that it does feel like everything's getting sort of twisted up. So it does feel like there's blame, there's sneakiness here. And I think that they are just going to tell themselves that you're sneaky and that you also twisted things around and that you both played a role in this. And that's not learning energy. Okay. And they might even have someone telling them that like, what's the word of like kind of just agreeing with the things that they're saying, like, and so it's helping them write this narrative that you're both at fault. And so this isn't someone who's gonna do any learning, and they're also still tied up in like what was and what could have been in some way instead of facing themselves. And you know, the moon is giving me some of this energy with these fish too. And even with this specific moon's expression and like this reflective energy, there's something about how they're not taking accountability for their part. They're not facing their part. It's possible that they will at some point. The moon can be, you know, the subconscious, the unconscious, going deep, looking within. But I just feel like they're sort of staying in this dreamy moon energy. And for some reason, they're just seeing you as the same as them. And so because of that, they're never looking clearly at their own part. They see there are differences, okay? They see that there are some differences, but it might be like if you are different genders, they're like, we're different because we're two different genders and they don't understand each other. It's like something like that where they're blaming the difference that they see on like something like that. And I don't know, it's, even though the moon can be deep, this person feels surface because it's like, you know, there's this reflective energy. So it feels like they're just looking at the reflection on the water instead of going into and under the water. They're up here. They're not going deep. And so I don't think that they're going to learn from how they affected you. I don't think that they have the capacity for that. It is possible, especially because they do like you more than other people, but I just don't, I haven't sensed a depth within them this entire time. Are they sorry? Well, the Empress is a yes card. So we could say yes, that they are sorry. But I kind of get that you are this figure and that you look sort of mad. And like, it's like you're so beautiful in some way. Your energy is so beautiful, but you've been, and you can see clearly with this eye up here on her hair, it feels like the crown chakra is open, like you have wisdom and knowledge now, and you're not happy with how things went. And I think that they sense that basically. They know you're not happy, so they would probably say like, I'm sorry, because again, I do think that they like you more than other people, or they're more intrigued by you. And so they might show up and like be like, oh, sorry, and like be kind of like sweet and like say they're sorry. I don't know that they actually are, just because of the rest of the energy of this reading. I don't think they're capable of being sorry. What I'm seeing here is that they might try to show back up, and because they see you as so like attractive or interesting or something like that, they will say they're sorry in order to get you to, it's like I see your expression changing. So instead of you being mad, now you're happy with them. That's what I think is more likely to happen. What's going to happen between you two moving forward? Nope. Okay, so what I want to say with the way the deck was, it feels like there are delays, and then this person kind of swoops back in or tries to. And we have the Two of Wands, which makes me think that they are planning to swoop back in some way. They're planning to. They want to try again. And I think that they're making the plan of how they are going to do that. They're like kind of very concentrated or focused on that in some way. And we have the World. Yeah, so I think that you are the world in some way. They see you as the world. They see you as someone really incredible, and they want to like own you in some way. They want to have you in their hand. And so they're very like determined to come back. They're like, I'll say I'm sorry. I will act some certain way. Like I'll be more myself. Like, I don't know. They definitely want to like draw you back in. But listen, like you are the world. Okay. So like you're basically what they are acting like they are. So you have all the tools at your disposal. You have knowledge and emotional maturity and clarity. You have passion and inspiration. You have, security and stability in some way. You have accomplished things. You are attractive. You in all these ways, like you're a catch of a person, romantically or not. And you also are protected in some way, especially if you don't want this person to come in and mess with you, because they're not actually changed. They may show up a little bit different, but they're not actually changed. And so you've got to rely on your intuition and your inner knowing and protect yourself, because I definitely think they're going to try to come back in some way. So if you haven't already blocked this person, I would go ahead and do that. I would tell anyone that knows both of you that you don't want this person to enter your life. I don't know. I think that they're going to, no matter what. I get the sense that I don't know if you have an online presence, but they are certainly looking at it. Yeah, they're kind of keeping an eye on you in some way and looking for an opportunity. So I would be very cautious about that. Yeah, basically this is about you maintaining your peace and your well-being, and keeping this person at arm's length, actually further than arm's length. Keep them like not close enough to touch you. Because I think that they sort of see people as objects a little bit. And I think they see you a little bit that way. And they think that at some point they might want to have another chance with you. And I would say that that is not a good idea. Will this person get their due? Will there be justice? Four of Pentacles. Page of Cups. And the Two of Swords. I'm just going to do this. Well, I want to say yes with the Four of Pentacles because it feels like their mask drops and people see them for who they are. And because we have this structure in the background and it makes me think of a courthouse, it makes me think justice will come in some form, maybe legally. But yeah, and I think because originally they showed up as the King of Cups and we have the Page of Cups here, I think that more people will see through their facade and start to see them a little bit more clearly, like seeing their immaturity more. However, and while there can be a justice with that, you know, like not being able to trick as many people, it does still seem like people are going to be blind to this. With her blindfold here and the moon, which can cause confusion and the unknown and not knowing which way to take and like kind of like letting things pan out. I think they're still going to be getting away with some of the same things they've been getting away with. And they're still going to be causing mental confusion. They're still able to get away. Yeah, they're just still able to get away with some things. So I don't know if there's really a strong sense of justice here, if like there's any kind of like retribution or anything like that. I think that they're going to continue on this path. More and more people will be able to see their traits a little bit more clearly, so they will be unable to do as much damage as they've done, but that will not stop them from still continuing damage. It's like I'm seeing them like sort of as they get older. They maybe, if this is like dating, they may date younger because it's easier to fool someone who doesn't have as much life experience yet. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of see like this person calming down but doing the same stuff. And I don't know. I don't really want to talk more about it just because I don't really like that they're still getting away with this. But I don't think that you're necessarily going to get a lot of personal justice other than continuing on with your life and being the wonderful, amazing person, living the wonderful, amazing life that you are. And staying away from them if you can. Okay. So I hope this reading was helpful and accurate for you. If you did enjoy the reading, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Okay. Bye, group 4.